Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In the previous part of this video tutorial, we have learned to add Lottie animation using the Elementor free HTML code widget without any additional plugin. If you want to add Lottie animation at only one or two places, then the HTML code widget is the best way to add Lottie animations. You can watch the same video after watching this video. The link is given in the description. If you are a frequent user of the Lottie animation, then the HTML method of adding Lottie animation is not an efficient way. For frequent Lottie users, I am going to create a free Elementor widget using the Unlimited Elements plugin. To install the required plugins, first, go to the WordPress dashboard. Then hover over the Plugins tab, and then click on Add New. Now just type Unlimited Elements in the plugins search field. Here you will get a small plugin with the same name by Unlimited Elements. Just install and activate this plugin. Similarly, install and activate the Elementor plugin too. To create the Lottie animation widget, just scroll down to the bottom side of the WordPress dashboard, then hover over the Unlimited Elements tab, and then click on the Widgets option. Now here by default, you will get dozens of free and pro widgets. You can install any widget as you like, but for now, we will be creating a new widget from scratch using the Widget Creator feature of this plugin. Now let's first create a new category for our widget. To do so, just click on this plus button, then type the category name, and then click on this button. To add a new Lottie animation widget, just navigate to the newly created category, then click on the Add Widget button. Now here, just type the widget title, name, description, and then click on this button. Here you can see, our newly created widget has appeared, but currently, this card widget is not a functional widget because we have not added any code to this widget. Now to edit the widget, just click on these three dots, and then click on the Edit in New tab option. Now here in the General tab, you can edit the widget title, name, description, icon, etc. Let me set an icon for our widget. To set an icon, just click on this button. Then search and insert a relevant icon for your widget. Now switch to the HTML tab. Then delete the default text from this field, and then paste copied Elementor Lottie animation widget HTML code from the downloaded file. Now switch to the CSS tab, and then paste the Lottie animation widget CSS code. Now switch to the J/CSS includes tab, and then paste the Lottie file CDN link in this field. By the way, I have given a download link of the code snippet along with the CDN link in the description, so don't worry. You will get all the resources used in this video. In the end, just click on this button to update the changes. Now let's add this widget to our website. Now let's add our newly created Lottie animation widget in this column. Now here our widget is looking perfect on all devices, but currently, you cannot change anything in this widget from here, because our widget doesn't have any setting options. In order to create dynamic setting options, we need to create an attribute for every single setting option. Now, what is an attribute? The attributes will make our widget flexible towards customization. In another word, you will get the settings to change the Lottie animation, size, and repositioning using margin value. Now before proceeding further, I just want to tell you that it took us almost 10 hours to create this video for you. Please like and subscribe. It will take you only 2 seconds. To create the required attribute, just switch to the Attributes tab. Now here by default, you will get a settings section with the name of General. Just click on this pencil icon to rename the same. Now let's add one more settings section in our Lottie animation widget. To add a new section, just click on this plus button, then give the name, and then click on this button. Now let's create all the required attributes for our settings section. To do so, first select the relevant settings section, then click on this button. Now just select the attribute type from this drop-down. For now, let's select the link because we are going to create a field for animation link input. After that, type the attribute title, name. Now here in the item text, you need to enter the default animation link whichever you want to show as the default Lottie animation. In the end, click on this button to add the attribute. Let me create a number type attribute for animation speed. To do so, click on the Add Attribute button. Then select the number from this drop-down, and then give the title, name, and a default value without any suffix. After that, click on this button to add this attribute. Now let's create two more drop-down type attributes for the animation loop and play behavior settings. To do so, click on the Add Attribute button. Then select the drop-down type from this drop-down list, and then give the title, name. Now here in the item text, you need to enter the same text whichever you want to show inside your drop-down option. And here in the item value, you need to assign a value to the item text. Here we need a drop-down option for the Lottie animation loop and unloop, so we need to create two options to choose from the drop-down. The first one is yes and another one is no. In the second default value we need to leave it blank. Similarly, let's create the drop-down attribute for the play behavior. Now select the styling settings section. Here we need to create a total of 6 number type attributes for width, height, and margin with responsive control. To do so, click on the Add Attribute button. Then select the number from this drop-down, and then give the title, name, and a default value without any suffix. Now to enable the responsive option, enable this responsive control checkbox, and then enter default values for tablets and mobile devices. In the end, click on this button to save this attribute. Similarly, create all 5 remaining attributes for the height and margin settings. In order to get the widget setting working, we need to add all attribute shortcodes to our HTML and CSS code snippet, so let me switch to the HTML tab. Once you will create an attribute, then the attribute shortcode of the same attribute will appear here automatically. To add the attribute shortcode, you just need to select the section of the code. Then click on the relevant attribute shortcode here on the right side. Similarly, add the remaining shortcode to the animation speed, loop, and autoplay properties. Now we have successfully added all the required shortcodes for our Lottie animation widget. Now let me switch to the CSS tab. Now here add the attribute shortcodes for width, height, and margin values. In the end, just save the changes. Now let's check if our newly created settings are working or not. To do so, let me switch to the same Elementor page where we have added our newly created Lottie animation widget. Now let me refresh the page, so that our recent version of the Lottie animation widget will load on this page. Now here you can see, our widget settings have appeared. Let me change the animation and its settings. Now, if you want to change the Lottie animation, first select and delete the default source link, and go to lottiefiles.com. Now here you will get thousands of Lottie animation files, some of them are paid but most are free. In order to get the animation link, first, you have to log in, and if you don't have registered earlier, then you can easily sign up using your Facebook or Google account. In my case, I have already logged in with my Google account, so let's proceed further. From the top right corner, you can search the Lottie animation using related keywords. By default, you will get the results of both free and paid animations. You can filter the free animation from here. Now, click on the animation whichever you like. From here click on this button to copy the animation URL. Now go back to the Elementor page editor, and then paste the same animation URL just here. Here you can see, our new Lottie animation is loaded successfully. From this setting, you can change the animation speed. By default 1 is equal to 100% speed. If you want to increase or decrease the animation speed, then increase or decrease this value respectively. You can also change the value using the up and down arrow. If you want to stop the animation loop, then select No from this option. Once you will select No, then the animation will run for one cycle, and then it will stop automatically. From this drop-down, you can change the animation play behavior. For example, if you will select the autoplay, then the animation will start playing once it will load on the page, and if you select the hover option, then the animation will play only on hover. Now let's change the width, height, and margin values from this setting section, but before that let me add our newly created widget in one more place. Now let's change the width, height, and margin values. Now here our styling settings are not working properly because it is affecting the appearance of both animations together from a single place, which makes our widget non-reusable. In other words, we cannot add this widget in more than one place on the same page. To solve this problem, we need to make our Lottie animation widget a reusable widget. To do so, let me switch to the HTML tab of the widget editing page. Currently, our widget is not working as a reusable widget because here we have added a static class, and hence whenever we are adding this Lottie animation widget at more than one place, then the class of all Lottie widgets is the same, and it is resulting in the lowest positioned widget's CSS is affecting the appearance of the all other copies of our Lottie widget added on the same page. To solve this problem, we need to add a dynamic extension to our class, so that whenever we add the copies of the widget, then the dynamic class extension itself will change, and ultimately our problem will resolve. Now amazing thing is that the Unlimited Elements plugin has this default dynamic ID shortcode which we can use at any place as a dynamic extension. So let's add this dynamic ID shortcode just after this class name. To add this dynamic ID, place the cursor just before the closing quotation mark of the class, and then click here. Similarly, we need to add this dynamic ID everywhere where we have added this class, so let me switch to the CSS tab. Now here let's add the same dynamic ID, just after the class name without any space. Now, we have successfully added the dynamic ID at the required places inside our widget CSS code. In the end, just save the changes. Now our widget has become reusable. We can add as many copies as we want on the same page, and one widget setting will not affect the other Lottie widget's appearance. Guys, I would like to remind you that it took me almost 10 hours to create this video for you. Please like and subscribe, it will take you only 2 seconds, and if you are facing any problems, then please let me know in the comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, I will see you next time.